Nearly 175 million Americans carried credit card debt into 2026, with balances averaging more than $6,500 and annual percentage rates hovering around 23%. The majority of this country is trapped in a debt cycle that quietly destroys their financial future, one interest payment at a time. But here is what nobody is telling you. The rich are not just better at paying debt. They are playing an entirely different game with debt. A game with different rules, different tools, and a completely different outcome. While ordinary Americans are grinding through minimum payments on credit cards that compound against them every single month, wealthy Americans are using debt as a precision instrument to build wealth. Today, I am exposing the hidden wealth escape plan that the rich use with debt in America and showing you exactly how to start applying it to your own financial life right now. Welcome to Wealth Analysis Network, the channel that delivers deep, honest, research-backed financial analysis, so every person watching understands the real mechanics of American money and wealth. If you are new here, subscribe right now because every single week we bring you the financial intelligence that most people spend years trying to piece together on their own. Today, we are going inside America's hidden wealth escape plan, the specific way the rich think about, manage, and use debt that is completely different from how most Americans approach it, and we are going to break down every single layer of it in plain, honest language. Let's get into it. Let's start with the foundational truth that makes everything else in this video make sense, and it is the truth that the financial system has never clearly explained to ordinary Americans. Debt is not inherently bad. Debt is a tool. And like any tool, what determines whether it helps you or hurts you is not the tool itself, but how you use it. The reason most Americans stay stuck in debt cycles is not because they lack discipline or intelligence. It is because they were never shown the critical distinction between the two completely different types of debt that exist in the American financial system. The first type is consumer debt. Credit cards at 23% interest. Car loans for vehicles that lose value the moment you drive them off the lot. Personal loans for vacations or purchases that produce no ongoing financial return. This type of debt compounds against your wealth every single month. Every dollar you pay in interest is a dollar permanently removed from your ability to build anything for your future. With average credit card APRs now exceeding 23%, carrying even a modest balance of $5,000 costs the average American over $1,100 annually in pure interest, money that produces nothing, builds nothing, and compounds against them indefinitely until the balance is eliminated. The second type of debt is what the wealthy use, and it is the exact opposite in every important way. Productive debt is borrowed capital used to acquire assets that generate income, appreciate in value, or produce a return higher than the interest rate being paid. A mortgage on a rental property generating monthly rental income while the property appreciates over time. A business loan that funds expansion-producing revenue far exceeding the borrowing cost. A line of credit used to capture a time-sensitive investment opportunity in a rising market. The wealthy do not avoid debt. They engineer it so that every dollar they borrow produces more than it costs. And that distinction between debt that costs you and debt that pays you is the first and most important piece of the hidden wealth escape plan. Now let us talk about how the rich actually eliminate the bad debt they do carry. Because their approach to debt payoff is also fundamentally different from what most Americans do. The most mathematically efficient debt elimination strategy is the avalanche method, focusing maximum extra payments on the highest interest rate debt first while maintaining minimum payments on all others. This approach minimizes total interest paid and eliminates the most expensive debt as quickly as possible. While many people gravitate toward the snowball method, paying off the smallest balance first for a psychological win, the wealthy apply the avalanche with discipline because they understand the mathematics clearly. Every month, a high-interest balance remains unpaid. Compound interest is working against their net worth at a rate no reasonable investment can consistently outpace. Eliminating a 23% interest debt is a guaranteed 23% return on every dollar applied to it. And there is no investment available to ordinary Americans that produces a guaranteed 23% return at any risk level. The wealthy understand this sequencing instinctively. Eliminating expensive debt first is always the highest return financial move available when that debt exists. The third piece of the hidden wealth escape plan is the one that most Americans have never been offered and never pursued, and that is debt restructuring as a wealth acceleration tool. Balance transfer strategies, moving high-interest credit card debt to a 0% introductory rate card, can eliminate months or years of interest charges and create the financial breathing room needed to redirect those saved dollars into investment rather than debt service. The wealthy use debt restructuring constantly. They refinance mortgages when rates fall to reduce their monthly obligation and free up cash flow. They consolidate business debt at lower rates to improve their operational margin. They transfer balances to eliminate interest windows and use the savings to build investment positions. The principle is always the same. Reduce the cost of existing debt so that more of your income can flow toward wealth-building assets rather than interest payments to financial institutions. Before you make another minimum payment on a high-interest balance, ask yourself, have I explored every legitimate restructuring option that could reduce what this debt is costing me every single month? The fourth element of the hidden wealth escape plan is the psychological framework that the rich apply to debt that most Americans never develop. And it is the framework that determines every debt decision they make going forward. The wealthy treat the elimination of consumer debt not as a financial burden, but as their highest priority investment. Effective debt management requires creating a complete list of everything you owe, prioritizing by interest rate, and treating debt payoff payments with the same discipline and regularity as any fixed expense, not as optional contributions that happen when there is money left over at the end of the month. This reframe is critical. Most Americans treat debt payments as obligations they manage around their spending. The wealthy treat debt elimination as an investment they make before their spending. Every extra dollar applied to a 23% credit card balance is a 23% guaranteed return. Every month of delay is a month of that return going to the bank instead of staying in your financial foundation. The fifth and final piece of the hidden wealth escape plan is the one that connects everything together, and it is the escape velocity principle. Federal Reserve data from 2026 shows that 42% of Americans aged 65 to 74 now carry debt into retirement, up from 30% a decade ago, meaning the debt cycle is no longer something most Americans escape before they stop working. It is following them into what should be their most financially secure years. The wealthy escape this outcome not by earning dramatically more, but by reaching what financial researchers call debt escape velocity, the point where the interest being earned on their investments exceeds the interest being paid on any remaining debt. Once you cross that threshold, the financial momentum shifts permanently in your favor. Your money begins generating more than debt costs you. And from that point forward, compounding works entirely for your future rather than against it. So here is the complete hidden wealth escape plan that the rich follow while most Americans stay stuck. They distinguish clearly between consumer debt that destroys wealth and productive debt that builds it, and they eliminate the first while strategically using the second. They apply the mathematically superior avalanche payoff strategy because they understand that eliminating the highest cost debt first is always the highest guaranteed return available. They actively restructure existing debt through balance transfers, refinancing, and consolidation to reduce the cost of what they owe and redirect saved interest dollars into investment. They treat debt elimination payments as investments, non-negotiable, prioritized, and consistent, rather than as burdens managed around discretionary spending. And they build toward debt escape velocity, the point where investment returns exceed debt costs, because crossing that threshold is the moment the entire financial equation permanently flips in their favor. The difference between the rich and everyone else on the question of debt is not income. It is not luck. It is a completely different understanding of what debt is, how it works, and how to position yourself so that it serves your financial future rather than consuming it. That understanding is now yours. If this analysis gave you a genuinely different and more powerful way of thinking about debt and what you can do about it starting today, Please give this video a like and share it with someone who is stuck in a debt cycle and needs to see the escape plan. Subscribe to Wealth Analysis Network if you are not already part of our community, because every single week we bring you the deep, honest, research-backed financial analysis that helps everyday Americans understand the system and build real wealth inside it. Drop a comment below and tell me, which piece of the wealth escape plan are you going to apply first? I read every single one. See you in the next video.